Which WWE moves hurt the most? Which hurt the least? Hey guys, Maven here, and today I'm gonna be ranking WWE moves from barely feel it to I hate this job using my handy dandy tier list.
And look out! No! Oh, no!
Goldust Shattered Dreams looks vicious and sends every man into cringe mode, but what does it actually feel like? It's one of the moves that, thankfully, Dustin prepped me on plenty before we went out there. He told me just to make sure that once he put both of my legs over the ropes, at that point, I didn't move a muscle. Once you're sitting there filleted open, exposed to the world, you're truly putting a lot of trust in the foot of another man. And I'm thankful that Dustin was the one who was giving me the move. That said, you do feel the vibration because he has to kick the turnbuckle. You feel it a little bit, but it's nothing compared to if he missed the turnbuckle altogether. So I'm placing it in the noticeable but not bad category. It could do a lot of damage if Dustin wasn't a professional. Next is a move that almost every wrestling match features, and that is the good old-fashioned punch. Even though most wrestling matches include a punch, not all punches are created equal. Early in my career, I was informed not to throw a punch until I learned how to do so. And there's a lot of guys that are told exactly the same. Some guys never figure the punch out and they throw a flipper instead, which is a modified elbow to the face or to the side. It's an easy move to throw as a transition move to keep your opponent rocking back, to keep you on the offensive. But once you learn to throw a punch, there's no better move to have in your arsenal. But what does it feel like? I can tell you from firsthand experience, I have been tagged by offline punches, and I have tagged people, accidentally of course, with punches of my own. And it's the one move that when you get hit, and if you're wrestling long enough, you will get hit. It doesn't feel good. I was punched in the jaw, having my jaw knocked offline, and I could not bite straight down for 3 weeks. So for that reason, the punch, it hurts. If you're in the ring with professionals that know how to throw a punch, it doesn't hurt at all. But if you're in this game long enough, eventually you're going to get hit. And believe me, when you do, it does not tickle. Next up is Big Viscera's move, the Vis Agra, a move I still lose sleep over, actually. Viscera would put you down on the ground, and then while you're on your stomach, on all fours, struggling to get away, Viscera would get behind and mount you, taking an arm and putting it around your neck, pulling back, giving the appearance of total domination, total control. The move was, well, visually unpleasing to the eye. But what was it like to take? The Vis Agra is a move that is more psychological than painful, and for that reason I put it in the barely feel it category. Big Vis was a professional, and Big Vis could control his body weight well, but it's definitely a move that, if this was a psychological tier list, would definitely be at the top. Next on our list is a move that every wrestler without an amateur background has to learn, and sometimes learn the hard way, and that is the German suplex. For the duration of our lives, we are taught, and it's just natural instinct, that if we are falling backwards, to protect our neck and our head first and foremost. And the way we do this is putting an arm back, putting a hand back, trying anything we can to not fall on our most valuable commodity. When you're in wrestling, you have to throw that out the window. And I remember taking my very first German suplex. I disregarded my training, instinct took over, and I put my arm back. And since my arm was the first thing to hit and I was coming down with my legs up, my arm would pop my shoulder out and I would suffer my first dislocation because I took the move wrong. Once you get used to taking the move and you're taking it from guys like Kurt Angle, you find that it's a very easy bump to take. It's basically trust them, put your arms out and go for the ride, and make sure you tuck your chin as you go back. You don't want to spike and have the back of your head being the first thing to hit the mat. If you tuck your chin, it's not that bad, but if you do it the way I did, it can have disastrous consequences. And for that reason, I'm putting the German suplex in the it hurts category. I'm not the only one who's had a German suplex turn out disastrous. Now we move on to the suicide dive, and contrary to the name, the person taking the move takes all the brunt of it. What do I mean? A suicide dive is when you are on the outside of a ring and your opponent, who is still in the ring, is going to be diving onto you. It's a move where you not only have to have your ball strapped to you because you know you're gonna take the brunt of their impact, but if you move at the wrong time or are not where you're supposed to be, 100% of their force, their impact can go directly to the floor. There has to be a bond, there has to be trust between the two competitors in the ring. Whenever there was a suicide dive in any match I was doing, I didn't look forward to it. I knew even if it went perfect, it was still gonna hurt. Why? Because I'm still catching a grown man flying through the air. And for that reason, I put the suicide dive in the it hurts a lot category. The next move on our list is a transition move you see in every wrestling match, but I guarantee you take it for granted, and that is a simple kick. Every kick is different. Every person throwing a kick is different. And if you add either fatigue or adrenaline, sometimes a simple kick can catch you and take every ounce of air out of you. I found myself once wrestling Chris Jericho, and it was just again, a transition move, just something to keep the action open. He kicked me, caught me, and every bit of air went out of me. There are those occasions when a kick can turn into something so much more than a transition move. We're gonna put the kick in the noticeable but not bad category. Our next move is the spine buster, a move I remember watching Arn Anderson deliver perfectly as a child, and I can recall Triple H giving them to me once I got into the WWE. It's a move that looks absolutely devastating and can always bring the crowd to its feet. But what does it feel like? Once they get you up, they have to turn you 180 degrees and slam you down on the mat with their own body weight coming on top of you. But where does it rank? It is one of the moves that you're gonna feel a little bit. The next move is one that is in pretty much every wrestler's arsenal, and that is a clothesline. It's one of the first moves that you learn to throw, and probably one of the easiest. It's one of those moves that you can call on the fly, meaning it can come out at any time, and it's one of those moves that helps every wrestler at some point in their career. But does it hurt? Actually, the clothesline is one of those moves I never thought twice about taking. You're still taking a pretty decent back bump, but it's something that you're gonna get up and walk away from. And for that reason, I put it in the noticeable, but not bad category. Next up is a move I've taken a countless amount of times from one man, and that is Randy Orton's backbreaker. Orton would use this move not necessarily as a finish ever, but as a good move to just bring the crowd to their feet. It gives the illusion of Randy's opponent being bent across his back, definitely giving him the upper hand every time he throws it. Does it hurt me, or does it hurt Randy more? Actually, taking the backbreaker, it's not hard at all. And actually, I feel sorry for him because he's taking the majority of the brunt of it. When he goes to his knees and I go straight back, yeah, it might look as though my body's bending, but it's not even as difficult as taking a full bump. And for that reason, I put Randy Orton's backbreaker in the barely feel it category. The next move is one of the loudest and most impactful moves on our list. I'm talking about the open hand chop. Now, there are some moves that you can fake or lessen the impact on. The chop, it is not one of those moves at all. The chop is one move that every fan recoils and cringes every time they see it, but it's not just because they see it, it's because they also hear it.
Did you see that? You see that?
If you're the person taking a chop, there's little to nothing you can do to help protect yourself. And if you're the person giving the chop, there's nothing you can do to ease the impact on your opponent. Me personally, there was never one single chop I ever looked forward to taking. It stung, it would sometimes break the skin, leaving you bleeding, and once you took enough of them, you were feeling them days after. I am putting the chop in the I hate this job category. I can still feel them to this day.
We're heading into some really difficult times.
Don't worry guys, you're getting me. And I'm here to talk about this video's sponsor, Squarespace. If you've got a side hustle, a podcast, a small business, or anything, Squarespace makes it super simple to get it online and get paid. Their cutting-edge design tools allows you to create a clean, custom site in minutes. All you do is list your goals and Squarespace builds a professional website that you can easily tweak, zero web experience needed. You can offer services right on your site, take bookings, send invoices, and accept online payments. It keeps everything organized and saves you a ton of time. Go to squarespace.com/Huffman for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the code Huffman to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/Huffman, code Huffman.
Our next move comes courtesy of Dudleyville, and that is the 3D. Devon and Bubba have perfected their timing. They've perfected who's gonna be lifting, who's gonna be jumping, and if you take the 3D enough times, it becomes second nature. Once they set you up and you know the move's coming, you hear the crowd. They actually help with your adrenaline to get that added height. It's actually a pretty cool ride to go on. And for that reason, I put it in the noticeable but not bad category. I've never taken a 3D that I felt the next morning. Next up is a classic wrestling move, the body slam. One of the reasons the body slam is a classic, it's because anybody can do it and pretty much anybody can perform it. It's been around as long as wrestling has been alive. You're gonna see it in every match, but what does it feel like to take? Fortunately, the body slam is one of those moves that you barely feel. If you're working with your opponent to go up and your opponent brings you down, it's just like a regular back bump and you hardly feel a thing. Another iconic move is a suplex. Now there's several variations of a suplex, but for my money, a standing vertical suplex, just seeing two figures become one straight up and then stalling in midair for a little while, and then both men falling backwards, resembling a tree falling in the forest. It's what makes professional wrestling. Now, the person taking a suplex has to be just as agile as the person giving it. Sometimes more so, because once you go up and you're vertically inverted with your head below your feet, obviously the blood's gonna rush to your head. But for the most part, you're not in that position long. So at that point, you're strictly worried about landing flat, landing safe, and landing like every other bump. And for that reason, the suplex, you barely feel it. Another move that's short on flash but big on impact is a hip toss. Another move you're gonna see in almost every wrestling match. Obviously, if the two people have good timing and you can get good height out of a hip toss, it looks visually stunning. It's one of those bumps you learn on day one, but like we've said before, you cannot fake gravity. And the higher elevation, which is your goal, means the harder you're gonna be coming down and crashing down, hurting that back. It's not too bad, but it's definitely not a move you don't feel at all. Noticeable, but not bad. Next up is one of the flashiest moves in anyone's arsenal, and it delivers a hell of a punch. I'm talking about a scissor kick. The key to an impactful scissor kick lies 100% in timing. Well, let me explain. Once your opponent gives you a kick and you're looking down at the mat, your eyes are no longer directly on them. So you have to feel the mat and look out of your peripheral vision to see your opponent coming. Now, you can save yourself a lot of impact if when you feel your opponent coming up, you start taking the bump and going down with them, hoping the back of their calf comes across the back of your shoulder blades at that perfect time, making it look like they spike you into the mat. But if your timing is a little bit off and you're not going down when they're bringing their leg down, they're gonna kick you in the back of the head, and you do not want that. That is when a scissor kick can hurt. I've had scissor kicks that I barely felt, and I've had scissor kicks that I felt the next day. So for that reason, I'm gonna say the scissor kick, it hurts. A move that is exclusive to the biggest of big men is a big boot. Every time you see a giant foot look like it's taking a man's head off, it looks devastating. Now, one way you can mitigate a little bit of that pain and not eat the sole of his shoe is by placing your hand up. And when he's bringing that foot in, you're bringing that hand up. So at least his size 16, 15, whatever, is hitting your hand. But there's still impact. You're still taking the bump back, and inevitably, he's still kicking you a little bit. And the big boot is another move where timing is everything and can make the difference between finding yourself on the back of the mat as opposed to finding yourself looking for your teeth later on after the show. With all that said, I'm gonna put the big boot in the hurts category. Our next move is one I was synonymous with, and of course we're talking about the drop kick. Now, for me, the drop kick was fairly easy to perform, but what was it like to take? Now, here's my secret and what I would tell every person I gave my drop kick to. I would instruct them to simply provide their chest straight on facing me. That way, when I jumped up, I could place my right leg on their chest, using that to plant off, and my left foot would never make contact with their face in any way. Am I saying I did this 100% of the time? No, of course not. Accidents, they do happen. And guess what? I took my fair share of drop kicks in my career as well as throwing them. And I was hit in the face from my own move. But what does it feel like? Now, when the drop kick is botched and not thrown correctly, it could lead to a broken nose, a black eye, and it's never fun to have a boot thrown in your face. But for the most part, guys throwing a drop kick threw them because they knew how to throw drop kicks. Also, most guys taking a drop kick, even if you tell them, provide me your chest so I can plant off of it, they're still going to protect themselves and throw that hand up there at the last minute. So for that reason, the drop kick is noticeable, but not that bad. Mine, barely feel it. Perfect. Another impactful move that mostly big guys would throw was the sidewalk slam. The sidewalk slam is a move that you hoist a man up, maybe spin him around, and then you're bringing them down. As your opponent has you up, you're holding around them for dear life, knowing that they're gonna take you down when they're ready. Once you're off your feet, the move's 100% out of your hands, and they can take you down with as much authority, as much impact as they see fit. For me, the sidewalk slam is almost like an optical illusion. Yeah, it looks devastating when your opponent has you up and maybe holds you there, maybe spins you around, shows you to the crowd. But what that inevitably is doing is halting, stopping your momentum. And once you stop your momentum, obviously you don't have that far to go down, and without momentum, you're gonna go down a whole lot easier. I took my share of sidewalk slams, and it was surprisingly one of the moves I hardly ever felt. I thought it was the easiest. And for that reason, it's going in the barely feel it category. Next on the list is a back body drop, a move that breaks all instinctual rules in your head when you're learning how to wrestle. When you're first learning the business, you're learning how to take bumps, how to trust that you're going to land on your back as flat as possible. The back body drop, you're actually taking a bump, but someone else is hoisting you up in the air. It's unnerving the first time you're up in the air, 6-7 feet off the ground, and you know you have to flip all the way over and try to land as flat as possible. But because of the sheer height and momentum, it was definitely a move I would do, but I never looked forward to taking. And sometimes when you land, you would knock the wind out of you, making it harder to go on with the match. So for that reason, I put the back body drop in the hurts a lot category. A move that can truly strike out of nowhere is the power slam. The power slam combines both speed and raw power to catch your opponent, flipping them over and landing on top of them at the same time. As explosive and as vicious as it looks, it's truly one of those moves that's not that bad. It looks way more devastating than it is. Now, I'm not saying you don't feel anything. Obviously, the man is coming down on top of you, but for the most part, they're controlling their momentum. They're not landing on you with their body weight. So for that reason, I put it in the noticeable, but not bad category. Next is another move that makes every man hit that high C. Of course, I'm talking about a low blow. Now, the good news is the low blow, you barely feel it, but that's only if you know the secret. And to find out what that is, watch the video on screen.